Hey everybody, Tony D and the Gateway Pundit again. Did the U.S. raid European software company Scytl, and seize their servers in Germany? Company refutes claims. Update. Scytl reportedly refuted the claims on Saturday morning, then their website crashed. Interesting. Earlier today, Rep. Louis Gomer told Chris Salcido on Newsmax. This is what we're reduced to. Thanks a lot, mainstream media. Now I got to go to the Gateway Pundit and Newsmax to actually get some information. No offense to those two outlets, they're getting better, but they are very right wing. So grain of salt. Told Chris Salcido on Newsmax that people on the ground in Germany report that Scytl, which hosted elections data improperly through Spain, was raided by large U.S. Army force and their servers were seized in Frankfurt. The video went viral. Okay, so this may be where that initial report came from because it was on Newsmax. So, to those of you screaming, the U.S. Army doesn't do that. I don't know, dude. I don't know how the U.S. Army or the U.S. anything raids things in Germany. I mean, I guess they could use the U.S. Army. Why not? It's in Germany. It doesn't matter. They don't have the same rules in Germany. Okay? They don't have the same rules. We are, we are the guys who rebuilt Germany. And it's not like we haven't had U.S. forces on German soil before. So, as long as the local government's cool with it, you can use the Army or you could use the FBI. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Does it really matter who raided it if this raid actually happened? Andrea Widberg at the American Thinker earlier reported Scytl is a Barcelona-based company that provides electronic voting systems worldwide, many of which have proven vulnerable to electronic manipulation. Scytl has or had Soros and Democrat Party connections. Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen's Vocal Capital has invested $40 million in Scytl. Doesn't really mean anything. Tonight we learned from our source. Ooh, a source. Don't get all saucy with us, Gateway Pundit. That's how the mainstream guys went down. Tonight we learned from our source that Bill Gates also owns stock in Scytl. I saw that too on another site. I don't think that means anything, but here's what Rep. Louis Gomer of Texas had to say about the alleged raid earlier today. I can't play all this, but I'll play a tiny portion if I can.
He needed to just give up. But Scytl, that's a place where all of this information
Scytl. He's calling it Scytl.
Was cycling through. Not supposed to, but it was. And actually, there was a German that, as I was told, there was.
I'm not sure what his point is, but if you do a search for the U.S. military has raided and seized servers in Germany tied to the domain, you can watch the whole video yourself. It's only a minute long here in this clip, but I'm sure Newsmax has a better thing. Tonight we heard more from our source on this raid in Germany. From our source, the U.S. government, once they determined that this Dominion server was involved in switching votes, then the intelligence community began a search for the server and discovered that the server was in Germany. In order to get access to that server and have it available for use in a legal manner, they had to have the State Department work in tandem with the Department of Justice. They had to request that the government of Germany cooperate and allowing the seizure of the server. Makes sense. The appropriate documents required to effect that kind of seizure were put in place, signed off on, and it appears there was also U.S. military support for the operation. See, they probably didn't actually conduct the actual raid. They were probably just there in case, all hell broke loose. The U.S. military was not in the lead. It was probably the FBI guys. But this helps explain why Esper was fired and Miller and Kash Patel were put in place so that the military would not interfere with the operation in any way. Possibly. By getting a hold of the server, they now are going to have the direct evidence of when they were instructed to stop counting. They will also discover who gave the direction to stop counting and who initiated the algorithm that started switching votes. Uh-oh, spaghetti-o. The CIA was completely excluded from this operation. Uh-oh. Oh, that doesn't bode well. That does not bode well at all, CIA. Trump attorney Lynn Wood weighed in on this report today. Biden and his criminal cronies are not going to sleep well tonight. Well, Biden might, because he probably forgot the name Scytl. His co-conspirators know that name well. They also know the name Paragon, company which purchased Scytl in 1020. Everything will be revealed. Fight back. That's Lynn Wood on the 14th. Interesting. Okay. Well, this would certainly make a lot of sense. I mean, as I've said, the intelligence community does not like Trump. He threatened their money. They absolutely hate that. And he only did it once. He only sort of casually mentioned, like, yeah, the FBI, CIA, NSA, why don't we just combine them all and streamline the whole process? Which is just, like, he wasn't even like a guy like, oh, let's get rid of the CIA, kind of like Kennedy was. Mr. I'm going to break it into a million pieces. He was just saying, like, better to have one big organization than three ones tripping over each other. And there's some truth to that. Because, in 9/11, part of the problem was those agencies weren't talking to each other. And the FBI had information, the CIA had some information, and they are competing for government dollars instead of working together. That was part of the Patriot Act, the part that you'd want to keep and not overturn, the part where those agencies now by law have to share information. But there's a downside to that too. If you have somebody on the inside feeding information to a foreign agent or a criminal element, then they got all the information. So, it's complicated. But this, if true, and I say if true, it's slowly becoming more true, really could be the linchpin to the whole thing. This could be why Trump went, okay, I'm going golfing. We got the servers. We're good. As soon as they have this intel, this is kind of it, man. It is over. Some people are going to jail. Ooh, they're going to jail big time. Or they're in a panic. I mean, this may be why, what's his face? Brenner. I think it's Brenner, who was on CNN nonstop screaming that you got to remove the president. He might be in big trouble. Yeah, his fingerprints might be all over that server. Who knows? They may have set stuff up back in 2016 too. Only that time they didn't game the system enough. They didn't expect Trump to win at all. They gamed the system. He should have won by more. Who knows? The Democrats have complete control over the government in California. Could it be that they completely gamed the system? Now, they've lost a bunch of House seats, but they're a bit under scrutiny. They're a bit under pressure. They have to get Biden in. Without Biden, the whole thing falls apart on them. Maybe they stepped off on the gas on the local elections to press down on the gas in the presidential elections, and that's why so many Republicans are winning back places in California. Or again, they underestimated the GOP's message and excitement. Maybe. I definitely think this is just, if true, I mean, this is a bombshell. It's another freaking bombshell. Every day, a freaking bombshell. And it's not, just a bunch of pie in the sky. You got a Republican representative talking about the raid, saying that it happened. So the raid happened. Whether or not this is going to be provable in court, whether or not the information is on there, we don't know yet. Now, always mentioning Soros, it always makes you sound a little nutty. I have no doubt Soros has got his hands in a lot of pies, but keep in mind that doesn't even mean he knows. He doesn't even know. Same thing with Bill Gates and Paul Allen and Vulcan Capital. Half these guys, they got so much money, they don't know where it is. and they could easily go into court and say, I didn't even know. I don't even know. I don't even know where my money is half the time. I mean, if I had that much money, I certainly wouldn't know where the hell it was. And I am big on controlling my own money. If I had that many investments, it's the same thing with Trump. They blast Trump all the time about certain things and where his money is. He doesn't know where all his money is 24/7. He's got a better idea than most because he's a money guy. He's a business guy. But when you're talking about billions of dollars, I mean, you know how many investments these guys have? It's just a ridiculous amount. They just pour money into all kinds of things. At the end of the year, it gets down to November and you guys start thinking about paying your taxes. Sometimes you just blow money on investments just so you don't have to pay taxes on that money. Just so it's invested in something which you then write off on other things and then go, okay, I don't know if that's going to pay off. If it pays off, I'll just have more money. If it doesn't pay off, I'll have a different tax write-up. So don't get so wrapped around the axle about Soros. But the Democrats, if they prove this, are in big trouble, mainly because of Biden. But they'll all deny it. They'll say, oh, we didn't know this. What? And then all their stopgap measures will probably keep them isolated from any kind of legal repercussions. But somebody's going to jail. Certainly Spain and Germany are going to be like, ooh, yeah, how many heads do you need? We'll line these guys up for you. You could throw them in jail. Those people are going to go down big time. And they're probably all scrambling and running for the hills. Because if this is connected to the CIA, I don't see those guys surviving much longer if they actually have information they could testify to. I mean, really? I mean, it's the CIA, dude.